brought your loved ones here. People that have crossed over. Also pets, because they're people's babies. So I'm already very like having an introduction with them. They're talking to me, they're telling me things. Or we have soldiers here. And why is this so important? Because it helps everyone here to understand what I'm doing, and also it's teaching you the same thing about communicating or understanding your loved one. So when you hear them talk to you, or there's something going on in the house and you're not sure of, and you think it's you're thinking about them, no, they're putting the thought in your mind and saying, I'm here. My name is Rose, or Al, or Frank, or whatever the name might be, or or a child, or a pet. And so, because the same way you want to communicate with them, wow. That really woke everybody up, even on the other side. It's like someone out there, there's a gentleman out there who says, well, it's about time, I couldn't hear you. Okay, calm down.
In the spirit world.
In the spirit world, sorry.
You have to specify this family.
You know, sometimes they come in with humor, other times, like you mentioned, I was crying earlier, and it's very emotional. It's not for sadness, it's because they're so happy that you're here, and you'll get a message, I'm so happy that, my daughter, or my friend, or my wife, or my husband, whoever is here. So that way they can believe, because I'm having such a difficult time communicating with them. Or believing. Someone's saying, I don't know if they really believe that we can connect. So that's what's going on here. And so they'll make me react whether I like it or not, because I said today I wasn't going to react, I was going to just talk, and look what happened. Now,
what do you mean by react?
React meaning I start crying right away, so they'll say, really, we're going to show you. So they get me so emotional because they're so happy. If there's sadness, I would tell you. But no, they're so happy and also overwhelmed that you're here and they're here, and that you brought them, and each person is saying, I wonder if it's for me. They just crossed over. You think, she's making me cry. Somebody's here that their family members here, and saying they're hurting so much, and they keep talking to me, and I'm trying to tell them I'm okay and I'm not alone, but it's a she's not believing me, she's not believing me, and she's going everywhere and looking and searching to so many places, and I'm following her, she's taking me with her, and I'm trying to tell her it's okay. But she's very stubborn, that's what they're saying. So I believe it's someone's husband. So saying she's very stubborn, so not that she's
so it's a male
just
spirit.
Because, yes, it's a male spirit.
I know who it is, but I'm not going to say.
So they're saying, so here I have to go there and speak for myself to get through to her that we can communicate with each other, that it's okay and I love you. Maybe I didn't say it enough to her. I think he had maybe a little humor, but he had his strong ways about him too.
Do you incorporate like spirituality practice? I know it kind of came natural to you at age 2. So what do you find, any tips for the group here of really connecting, like maybe you can even bring us through, like how do you feel them or see them or know they're there, the deceased?
Well, in my, I don't want to talk so much about myself, but I felt I had, as soon as I came into this world, I was already, because I gave my mother a tough time when I was a baby, but she didn't understand that. It had a lot to do with the spirituality. Now, why are we here and why are you here is because to make you understand, because back in my time, this was not acceptable, not at all. And you were conditioned that everything was, no, I can't, no such thing, the devil's work. Now, the new generation of all ages, doesn't matter, throughout the world, it's acceptable, whether people say no or yes, it doesn't matter. It's getting stronger and stronger and spreading everywhere. Why? So this way, when you lose a family member, a child, I mean, I can go on and on and on, you know. I mean, you can go to a place and you're preparing, get them ready, and everybody comes and they sit very quiet. Meanwhile, they're standing right there. They're not in there. They're standing right next to you, talking to you.
You mean at a funeral?
Yes, at a funeral. So I didn't want to say it that way, but at a funeral, or let's say you go to a place of rest, a cemetery. I go there all the time and I talk to everyone, I have conversations with everyone. But the thing is, they say, I'm not there. Why are you there? But it's the respect, and to let the rest of the family that might not want to accept of what's really going on. So by you understanding this, it helps you feel better. And if you pay attention, don't make it more than it is. It's a hairline away that you can hear them. They can touch your hair. Sometimes they breathe on you or they hug you. You might feel like, oh, I feel like a cold, or oh, I feel like something's wrong with me. Maybe I'm having a heart attack. No, they're hugging you. So there's so many different ways of communicating, and or else you can see them just like, I'm watching you. There's so many different ways of being able. So
you see them,
yes.
Joni, because like I don't always see them like you see me right now. The spirits. I see, like for me, like if I look at somebody, I'll see like an hourglass, it starts to show, and then I will start seeing like a name, like maybe they'll spell their name to me, or they'll say mother, father.
Yes.
And then sometimes I'll hear their name, and then they'll start showing characteristics like hair, or if they smoked, or if they drank, or something, characteristics if they had a briefcase, what they did for a living. How, do you see it that way, or you see them like you see me?
No,
how is it for you?
I see them just like I see, as I see each and every one, but at the same, everything that you mentioned, the same thing. There might be days that I might, maybe it's me, I do it, I'm like, they show themselves to me, but I said, oh, not today. Like when I first came in here, the young lady who was here and who was with me, Courtney, that's my granddaughter, by the way, and I said, your mom or whoever's right over here, and she gets overwhelmed. She's inside now, but see, that's what happens. But no, sometimes I could get a picture, I get in so many different ways, That will happen.
Do you have any suggestions for the group how they can help themselves like really connect with their loved ones that have passed?
Yes, I'm an old time and I believe in God and I pray a lot, so I can't tell you what to do, but I feel that does help, especially if your mind is preoccupied with so many things and everybody's trying to tell you how to communicate and not how to. Take your time and use however you pray. But the word is you have to be a believer. Well, I've seen cases where people don't believe and things happen, right? But anyway, yes, but if you are a believer, you could be sitting down and don't take the credit when you think of your husband or your wife or your child or mom or dad, and it just goes on and on and on. Your pets, because you got pets here, military here too, because they kept waving the flag. I'm sorry. I go off, not now, wait, no. Let me get back, wait a minute, let me get back, oh, gosh.
No, so for your intuition, that's okay, I know, that's okay. Pretty much, for Joni, she's been seeing the deceased since she was 2, so she didn't have to learn, like kind of relearn. I feel we're all born with intuition. A lot of you, I know I recognize faces, and you've been through my workshops and classes. I didn't embrace it my whole life. But Joni, since I was this big, would say, someday you're going to be a psychic like me, and I would say, no, thank you.
They
all ran from her. See, my mom is very conservative, and she would be here playing with us, sitting with you guys, instead of up here, because she's more conservative. She's very different, and it's on the opposite side of the family. They're all on my father's side, and my mom has, is a separate side. So growing up, it was always fun going to Joni's house, because she has 5 kids, and they always had 5 friends, so it was always a party at Joni's. And she'd always read everybody, so it was always a ball going there. And so I always loved, and I was an only child till I was 7. So I was like, let's go to Joni's, this is fun. And so, right, you always had a bunch of food and always something going on. And she would tell me, you're going to be a psychic like me, and I'd say, no, thank you. And so I went to college and got a degree and got married and had a career for many, many years. And then, because I didn't listen, I ended up being diagnosed with an aneurysm while I was delivering my son, which was 11 years ago. I can't believe it was 11 years ago now. And all of a sudden I lost my vision for 4 months, and I had 2 babies. I had an infant and a 14-month-old. Can you imagine? For those of you that are moms and understand what it's like just to even have one, and not being able to drive, or I couldn't even lift my head because I was in such chronic pain. But who came to my rescue is Joni, thank you. And so she came and she helped me with the kids and driving and all of that. And once in a while, I don't know if you remember this story, but we were sitting just like this at a couch, and all of a sudden she's like, hi, how are you? And I'm looking at her like, talking to? Do you remember that? And you're like, oh, and he's right there, he's a soldier. I'm like, I don't see anything. Do you remember that guy? And all of a sudden, and he's like, oh, really? He's just passing through. And I'm like, really? Okay. So that night, I had the covers up to here going, oh my God, is he still around? And then what started to happen is my own intuition started to magnify. It was like somebody took the volume button and rammed it up, and all of a sudden I could hear things and see things. I started to have dreams about friends that I didn't want to know or care to know. And I would start asking Joni about it. And one day, I don't remember, we were sitting on the couch, all of a sudden I felt these bugs on my head, and I'm like, Joan, do I have bugs? And she's like, call your grandmother. Okay? Grandma, Joni said I have bugs on my head. She said to call you. She's like, I'll be right over. Okay? So they come down, they sit at my kitchen table, and they had like the S-talk, the sex talk, you know, but the psychic talk, we'll call it. They set me down and they said, I said, all right, what's that? Do I have bugs? What's going on? And they said, it's time to channel spirits. And I go, channel what? What the heck does that mean? Do you remember that conversation? And Grandma's like, well, that means that, you know, some people get it, if any of you ever get the tingling on your head or padding, some of you maybe the throat or pulling feeling, there's all different ways. This is just me personally, but you're not going crazy, because I have a lot of private clients who come to me and said, I always feel this, and I said, oh, so did I, you're not crazy, so am I. So this is how it happened for me. And so it was wonderful to have Joni those couple of months, taking not only care of my children, but really caring for me and my family, and also being part of my spiritual involvement and jumping into really embracing my intuition. I'm going to be honest, I was like Hedy. I was terrified of the spirit world, meaning I think our era also had like Poltergeist and Exorcist, when the girl's neck would spin around, you know, really scary. Amityville Horror. There was a lot of scary movies out there that if you talked to the dead, you were going to be possessed. So do you think I wanted to do that? Now, since Joni embraces since the age of 2, she had no fear. She had absolutely no fear. All right, Hedy, tell at least one funny story when you were a kid, like when you guys shared.
Wait until I start.
No, come on, tell the funny story about when you guys shared a room and Joni woke up and yelled at you for turning the lights on.
Do I need to hold this?
No, you will if you know, so they can hear you.
They want to hear.
My sister and I shared a room when we were little, and what happened is I will come in and she'll tell me, you know, she wants to take a nap, turn off the light, and I will look, it's dark, and I said, there is no light on. Or she'll say, what's that music? Did you turn off the radio? What's wrong with you? Turn off that radio. And then, of course, I would leave. I would not leave. I'll run out.
You ran me over.
Yeah. One day it was really, really bad that my mother and everyone came in and everybody just ran out the door because of all her friends that were there she was talking to. You know, somebody had a flute or whatever. And I said, listen, Mom, I think something's wrong with her. Somebody's playing the flute. They have a thing on their head. So that's it. We left, you know, not left, we all ran out of the house. And then that's, you know, that's just half of the stories. There's a lot.
Oh, tell me about the furniture.
Remember, I'm still afraid. So even now when they come to visit me, I have to put out the TV full blast.
Tell about the furniture, that dresser recently.
Oh,
tell the story about the dresser. This is a funny one.
My brother called and says,
My
Hedy,
father.
I like straight, different pieces of furniture. So my brother called and he says, Hedy, since you're such a junk collector, I saw somebody just happened to put something out in the street and you might be interested. So I says, okay, I'll look at it without my son, because my son feels I'm a junk collector and don't pick up anything.